Okay, well, it's 10:30, so I think we should get started so that we can get through the meeting and everyone can get on with their Friday. So good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I'm Carrie Coogan. I'm Deputy Director of Community Engagement and Public Affairs for the Kansas City Public Library. And we have been hosting this coalition meeting for close to 10 years on the first Friday of every month at 10:30. And up on the screen, Wendy Pearson, who is on the library team, she runs our tech access department and will be helping support this meeting today, has our mission and vision up on the screen. I also wanted to, we're going to talk about this at the end, but I did want to give a quick shout out for next month. December is our yearly celebration to celebrate all of you and all the work that we do all year long. So it's actually at the Central Library downtown. Upstairs on the 5th floor, there's a rooftop terrace and we'll have food and drinks. And that'll also be on the first Friday of December, which is, oh no, Thursday, right, Wendy?
It is actually on the second Thursday, the 11th.
The 11th, okay.
Yeah.
So mark your calendars. We won't have our regular meeting on the 4th, but we will have a celebration on the 11th of December at the Central Library. So we hope you will come and we hope you will bring all the people from your teams to celebrate all the work. And here is our steering council, Ina Montgomery, who's with Urban Tech, Aaron Deacon, who's with KC Digital Drive, and I've already introduced myself. And then we also get regular updates from Tom Esselman, who runs the digital program office of Kansas City. Here's ways that you can connect with us on social media. Share your events, share your work, share your stories. It's always so great. And now our agenda for today. We're really grateful to be honoring and celebrating and acknowledging our National Veterans and Military Families Month in November. Veterans Day is Tuesday, November 11th. And so in honor of that and to acknowledge all of our veterans in our community, we wanted to host some of the people who are doing the work in our community, both to hear about what they're doing generally as an organization, but also the challenges and supports that they're providing veterans in our community around digital engagement and digital opportunities. So I'm going to, before we get there, I'm just going to quickly open it up to ask if there's any new members on the call. Is there anybody who's here for the very first time? And if you are, could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yes, I can start. My name is Leisha Tiffany. I work over at Sheffield Place. I'm the children's case manager, and so a lot of our clients are moms who are have experienced substance use in the past and are on the road to recovery, or we have a few rooms that we do allow moms who are experiencing homelessness with their children to come. Our goal is for them to gain self-sufficiency, and so a lot of our programs have everything to do with them navigating sometimes the DSS system, supporting them through continuing to stay sober, and then getting them connected and support throughout the community through partner agencies, as well as the goal being employment. And so that's kind of what I do. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to have you here and wonderful to hear about your organization. And if you don't mind, would you just put your name and contact information in there so that everybody on the call has it? And then we will also add you to our email list so that you'll get all of the invitations to our upcoming meetings and newsletters. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Anyone else on the call for the first time?
Good morning. My name is Stephanie McCown. I'm a family school liaison for Hickman Mills Early Ed. And I just help families with resources and anything that they may need. It's a struggle right now, but we're doing it.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's always great to have people on the call from the schools. You know, we care about making sure that kids and families are connected all around our community. So thanks for being here. And again, if you don't mind putting your name and contact information in the chat so we all have it, would be great. Thank you. Shannon, I think we're going to hear from you in just a bit, but you're welcome to introduce yourself now too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Carrie. I don't want to hog any more mic time than I'm already being given, but I am Shannon DiMaggio. I'm with IC Stars Kansas City. I'm the sponsorship and development manager with IC Stars, and I'm looking forward to this presentation today. It's so timely, it's so important, and I'm eager to be able to connect with all of you in a bigger and lengthier way post meeting. So thank you.
That's so great. Wonderful. And Shannon and IC Stars will be our community spotlight for today. So we'll hear from you in just a little bit. Is there anyone else who's new on the call?
Yeah, I'm Ashton Forbes. I'm an addiction counselor at the KU Addiction Clinic. We serve patients in our opioid treatment program. So we do a lot of case management and trying to connect them to resources.
That's wonderful. Thank you. How did you hear about the coalition meeting?
Well, actually, so we worked with the library recently because we created a library for our patients. And so we worked with the Wyandotte, our downtown Kansas City location, on getting some books that they donated to us. And so then that just kind of got us connected with the libraries and different opportunities for our patients and for us.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here and for your work. And if you wouldn't mind putting your name and contact information in the chat, that would be great.
Sure.
Anybody else? So great to have so many new faces. And if there's anybody for the new people on the call or anyone else, if there's somebody who's not on this call who you think should be, this call is open to anyone. So please invite others who are doing this work in the community who we might not have reached yet. Anyone else? Wendy, I just wanted to flag too. I don't think I see Josh on the call, so I'm not sure if he's having trouble connecting, but just we're gonna move on to Stephen, but did want to make sure that we have Josh if possible. He's our second guest. Okay. So with that, I'm going to introduce Stephen Mutz. He's with the University of Kansas Veterans Upward Bound program. And he's joining us today actually from a resource fair. And so we're grateful for your time and grateful for the work that you do in our community supporting veterans. It's something that we all really care about, not just this month as we honor them, but all throughout the year. So Stephen, do you mind first telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what your organization does generally and daily, and then share with us more about some of the challenges or ways that you're helping to support the community through digital opportunities, or what some of the ways we might be able to help, or other ways that we might be able to partner with your organization.
Sure. Thank you really for this opportunity. I really appreciate the chance to kind of talk a little about what we do and who we serve. I actually have a presentation that kind of I'll go through with that, and that'll explain that. A little bit about myself. Can y'all see this screen?
No, now we
No?
can.
Okay,
It's coming.
perfect.
Here it is. Yeah, now it's up.
So I've been with Veterans Upward Bound a little over 8 years. I've been director for a little over 4 years. And I'll tell you a little bit about our program. I got into Veterans Upward Bound as I was finishing my PhD. I had previously, for about a decade or so, been an employment specialist. So I have a fairly deep background in resume writing, cover letter writing, training on interview skills, and a lot of employment prep. And that's actually how I got started with Veterans Upward Bound, and then kind of moved to the more academic side when we had kind of a supplemental grant to our main grant, which is to help veterans prepare to go back to school. So to begin, we are one of there were about 68 programs nationwide. There's somewhere around 62 now. They're all tasked with helping veterans in particular areas get ready to go back to school. So that makes us a pre-college program. Education and skills is what we do. We serve 125 veterans every single year. Last year, this year, next year, it's always 125. And I'll get into the eligibility now, but more or less, if they have made it through basic training, or if they were released for medical reasons, if they were a member of a reserve component, basically anyone that has done that and has anything other than a dishonorable discharge, we can help them. There's no time limit for our services. Since we're academic prep, we do a lot of academic advising, tutoring, transcripts, college admissions. We do a lot of it falls in the tutoring or in the kind of the academic advising on going into what programs a veteran wants to do. Our host institution is University of Kansas, but honestly, very few of our veterans end up going there. They can go to any school, they can go to any program they want to do. It's totally up to them, so it's very individual driven, and we just help them prepare and get ready to kind of start on their best foot. So I usually liken our services to like personal trainers working with athletes in the off season. We just want them to start the season on the best possible kind of place that they can. So part of the eligibility, which is more for my purposes than anything else, is of the 125 that we serve each year, 2/3 need to be low income and first gen, which more or less means that neither one of their parents got a bachelor's degree. And then of the other third of the 125, they can be low income or first gen, or they can just be at risk of academic failure, which really boils down to they have a documented disability or they've been out of school for 5 years. And so that really catches a lot of folks. But there's no age limit on our program. Our program compared to other programs, I think we skew a little bit older, and nobody has to go to school. So if they want to just work on academic stuff with no actual school plan, that's okay. We end up doing a lot of computer skills training for a lot of folks who are just kind of wanting to do something, kind of keep their themselves busy or kind of grow some skills, build some skills. But an actual certificate, degree, that's not part of their plan, and that's okay. Our program's designed to help them get into school to earn a certificate, an associate's degree, or a bachelor's degree. And so sometimes we'll run into veterans who are wanting to work on a master's, and that's fine. We don't really count them, but we will still give, in general, the same kind of help. And the same goes for the dishonorable discharges. We have a policy, we don't turn any veterans away. So it's just a matter of kind of reporting for me. I'm not going to count anyone with a dishonorable discharge. But oftentimes I've found they're the most in need of help. It really opened my eyes with one of our partners years ago to realize that every person with a dishonorable discharge that they were serving had been dealing with military sexual trauma. And so, again, folks that really probably could benefit from resources, referrals, access to services, whether that's academic or employment or anything like that. So we tend to not turn anyone away, but this is our actual eligibility for our program. Like I said, we do a lot of academic prep. We do a lot of academic advising. We'll also put on financial literacy workshops and help with kind of like the financial side of school. So we don't pay for school, but we will help them kind of realize what they may be eligible for, or introduce them to things that they may have not thought about, help them with FAFSA or getting hooked up with VRE or Veteran Readiness and Employment. Tend to counsel them on those instances where they have GI, post 9/11 GI Bill. If they are eligible, they really, a veteran really probably needs to access VRE before they do that, because a lot of their program of choice could be paid for, and that still kind of frees up their post 9/11 funds for, let's say, finishing up a bachelor's or maybe even trying something else. And then we do financial literacy workshops. Typically, we'll do those every August, but we'll be able to put on a big workshop at our partners. We've done it at the KCVA, the Leavenworth VA, Veterans Community Project, and our grant allows us to get food for participants in those cases. So it's a really good kind of hour and a half or so worth of programming where we'll feed the veterans, give them a lot of great kind of financial literacy information. And we do a similar thing with computer skills workshops, writing workshops, or writing lunch and learns. So some neat stuff that we can do within the bounds of our grant. Our target area is 5 counties around the Kansas City area. So on the Kansas side, that's Leavenworth and Wyandotte. On the Missouri side, that's Clay, Jackson, and Cass. we'll get veterans sometimes from Platt and from Johnson, and that again, that just becomes a reporting issue for me. I don't typically count them, but if someone's reaching out for academic help or resource referrals, we're not going to leave them high and dry. Like we're going to make sure that they're in the very best situation, kind of a warm handoff to somebody that can help them with whatever they're looking for or need. As far as staff, we have 2 full-time staff, myself and Lisa Schley, and then we have 3 part-time staff that helps us by going to our partners. You can think of when we go to our partners, they're there to do recruitment, to do participant work. So whether that's tutoring or just general academic advising, but it's a smaller staff. Some of our key partnerships, obviously being in the Kansas City area, we have over a dozen different institutions, post-secondary institutions that we try and work with. So community colleges, MCC, KC, JCC, KC, KCC. Obviously there's UMKC. KU has a Kansas City area campus. Kansas State has a Kansas City area campus. Same goes for UCM, University of Central Missouri, Northwest Missouri State, and then private institutions like William Jewell, Avila, Rockhurst, you name it, whatever school we try and reach out with and work with them. We also work with VA hospitals, the KCVA and the Leavenworth VA, transitional housing providers like Veterans Community Project. We're doing a little bit with Footprints and serving veterans at their KCK house. There's Valor Ranch, they've been in Smithville, but they're now, I think, relocating to Ray County. We try and work with all the veteran treatment courts in the area. There's about 5 or 6. Veteran-centric health and wellness communities kind of include things like Irreverent Warriors, employment, workforce services. A lot of the community colleges have kind of those things, usually under the guise of continuing education. But then there's also, Department of Higher Ed and Workforce Development on the Missouri side, Kansas Works on the Kansas side, and then, in general, treatment centers, homeless shelters, food pantries that aren't just veteran specific, but they happen to have a lot of participants that are veterans. Now, in terms of bridging the digital divide, we have an online website with an online application. We have a mobile computer lab, which consists of laptops, a portable scanner, and a printer. We tend to try and meet veterans wherever they're at and make it as easy as possible. So we'll meet them at libraries, at our partner institutions like the KCVA, the domiciliary in Leavenworth. We'll even meet at coffee shops or college campuses if that's what they're looking for. In addition to that stuff, we usually tend to give out a limited number of resources, but a backpack that has academic resources as well as Rocket books, and we train them how to use it. We train a lot on computer skills, so the Microsoft Office suite. And so the advantages of this, is obviously trying to reduce barriers to not only apply to VUB, but barriers that are, in terms of access technology or building the skill level to be able to use that technology, how to use emails, how to communicate with employment agencies and get your resume in their hands. Our website allows us to gather pre and post test data to kind of establish an academic baseline of where they're at with math, reading, writing. We have an online database that we use, so we're very secure in that sense. Some of the limitations of this, though, obviously, there's always advantages and disadvantages, or we can get incomplete information on our applications. So sometimes I get an application on our website and they don't include an email or a phone, and I'm kind of limited on how I can reach out to them. And then, we tend to, anytime we go to a library, mostly based on security reasons, but we tend to try and use our phone as a hotspot. And I do more direct service than I probably should. So I don't mind doing that myself, but I don't like asking my staff to use their personal cell phones to kind of act as a Wi-Fi hotspot. But on the whole, we do a lot with training on computer skills and getting veterans ready to kind of handle that academic load. And as we all know, it's all centered around technology, internet, typing up papers. And that's not even to mention the fact that there's online class opportunities. which are different, than your in-person class, and really require students to kind of act as their own professors, stay on top of deadlines, know when a quiz is coming up, in addition to the actual problems of access, stable internet, that kind of stuff. But that's the long and short of what we do. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to come visit our website at vub.ku.edu. You can reach out to me via email at vub@ku.edu. And that's all I have. So again, I appreciate the chance to meet with y'all today.
Stephen, thank you so much. That's really incredible work that you guys are doing and very comprehensive. I did want to open up for a couple of questions, if you don't mind taking a few questions before you get off to your resource fair.
Sure.
One of the questions I had is, can you give us a ballpark of how many people you're serving now? And when it comes to serving, are there a lot of one-off opportunities, or do people enter into the program and they're there for a couple of weeks or a couple of months? Or what can you tell us a little bit about the students?
Yeah, it really depends. We have more what I would call one and done participants than I'd like to have. But typically it kind of varies. So some folks, so we have one thing I didn't mention, but we have asynchronous software. So I have college level coursework. I can create accounts for all of our participants, and they can log in as much or as little as they want to do things that, math, reading, writing, whole courses on biology, psychology, history, all that. So some folks will meet with, once a week, twice a month or so, like that. And then they'll be doing kind of this component that's on their own. One thing I didn't mention is if a veteran does 4 to 6 hours of academic work each month, which includes Edmentum or another software suite we have that's just exclusively computer skills, it makes them stipend eligible, which is $40 a month. That level's, we're a federal grant, so that level's not changed. We can't change it. And honestly, with inflation, that $40 is not really a lot. And in some situations, especially folks that are going through treatment recovery, an infusion of $40 may not be the most timely thing for where they're at. So it just depends. But I'd say we do have more one and done participants than we do really robust over time. But there's usually at least a dozen, if not 2 dozen each year, they're real consistent with. They're not really ready or looking to go to school, but they're working on academic related stuff or doing Edmentum throughout the year, logging in a few times a week.
Great. I have other questions, but I want to open it up to anybody on the call for questions that you might have for Stephen and this really incredible information you just provided.
Hi, Stephen. My name's Tom. Can
Hey,
you hear
Tom.
me okay?
Yeah, Tom, can you
I
talk
can
a
hear you.
little bit louder?
Sure. Hey, I just grateful that you joined us for this meeting, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware on this call, typically, and today is typical, there's lots of additional resources that you may or may not already be aware of to access, depending on the specific needs of the veteran clients you work with. Just a quick, for instance, Tanya Williams, aka Sherelle, works for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. And if any of your clients, live within the city district, and if they run into additional needs, whether it's for digital navigation support, et cetera, Sherelle can help you out through the city's resources. If you have any language barriers, particularly in the Hispanic community, we have a big contingent of coalition members who provide regular digital access and digital literacy support to Spanish-speaking residents, and even just devices. I noticed you put in the slide 4 laptops and a printer. You may need more than 4 laptops. You may need 100 laptops. We have access to members here. I know we're going to hear from Shannon at IC Stars. We have a great nonprofit called Electromundo that works in KCK and throughout the area that provides, laptops and computers for as low as, $50, even lower, depending on, where and how they get donations and refurbished devices. So I just wanted to kind of do a shout out to the additional resource, because we're getting to meet you and learn about you and Veterans Upward Bound at KU for the first time. And I just want to make sure you are aware of tons of other resources that we have available in case, the specificity of different clients' needs pop up.
Tom, thank you so much for that. That's fantastic. I didn't actually know about those. We have used PCs for People. I think they're kind of based out of the West Bottoms. We've made a lot of referrals to them, but that's really great to know. Yeah, our mobile lab it's nice to be able to kind of meet participants or do like a small group. But yeah, there's not a situation where if we had like a workshop or something where we needed 15 or 20 laptops, like that's just not something that we have access to. So that's good to know that there are at least resources available that I didn't know of that might be able to kind of further that end. And if possible, I know today is probably, and I apologize for the noise in the background if you can hear it. I would love to attend more of these meetings in the future, just so I can kind of get a firmer grasp on all the partners and all the opportunities in the area. Because I have a habit of saying yes to everything, just because anytime you feel like you're made or you're like, yeah, we've got enough partners, like things can change on a dime. COVID can happen, that kind of stuff. So I am always kind of keeping my ear to the ground. So yeah, thank you. And I'd love to come back and learn more kind of about individual partners and everything that the resources.
And by the way, that also applies to, grant opportunities and funding opportunities you may not be aware of. We try to use this coalition as a way to just generate as much broad awareness and participation as we can. So, keep Wendy and Carrie's contact information close by, and I'll put mine in the chat too. As any other members that are on this call that you can get access to, we're here to help out, because when we're in this setting, we're a coalition. We're about solving this problem community-wide. Even if, we might go back to our day-to-day jobs with our own nonprofits or whatever. I mean, we're committed to getting this digital accessing thing solved from a community-wide basis.
That's beautiful. That really is, and I really appreciate that knowledge there.
Thank you, Tom. Stephen, do you have time for? Yeah, I was going to say there's one question in the chat, and then we can go to Leslie Scott, who's got her hand up. And it is, what about the veterans' siblings or ex-wives? Do they get benefits, or is there an age limit for the siblings? Do you support the families in any way with your work, or no?
We don't directly. So there's 8 TRIO programs. These are all federal TRIO programs, one of which trains the other. So there's really 7. And there's other programs that do serve, siblings of veterans, wives of veterans, spouses, I should say, of veterans. So one I would recommend, if I encounter a veteran and their spouse and their child is looking for services, I would typically refer them to EOC. That's Educational Opportunity Centers. There's 2 KU programs. One serves Leavenworth and Franklin counties, and another one serves Shawnee and Wyandotte, I believe. I might have one of those counties wrong. But and if there might be some on the Missouri side that I'm just not aware of off the top of my head, but I typically will make a referral. There's other TRIO programs like Talent Search that serves exclusively focuses on children that are in school. I think 6th grade through 12th grade, and so it just depends. But yeah, we only serve veterans that meet our eligibility criteria. And then for any other, siblings, relatives, or whatever, that, hey, this would be great. I'd love to have access to this. We typically will make a referral to another TRIO program or just one of our partners. So like employment-wise, part of my background as the employment specialist for so long, I tend to have a better, understanding of different resources, temp agencies, everything that's out there, so I can make a direct referral. But we only serve directly veterans.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. And do you mind, while we're going to get to Leslie, but could you put your contact information in the chat just so we have it? And then to everybody on the call, we'll send out a follow-up newsletter with all this information, but just so that people can, there's a lot of people I think who want to get in touch with you, so we can get that information out first. Leslie?
Yeah, I just wanted to build on what Tom said. So we have our digital life exchange, and we'd love to talk with you more about our helping connect people to resources, including our device access program for people who live on the Kansas side of the metro. So Leah Henriksen also put something in the chat that I think you saw. So we'll be reaching out to you just to talk more about that, see if we can get some of your veterans who need a device hooked up with one. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you,
Thank
Leslie.
you. And I appreciate that. And again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And I really want to come back on a less hectic day. So whether that's next Friday or the event in December, I will be there to learn more about everyone that's on the call and just resources available. So thank you again.
Yeah, it was great having you. Thank you so much. And again, to everybody, we will be sending out information about the call and more of Stephen's information. So good luck today. And thanks again for being here.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Bye.
Great. So continuing on with our agenda for today, we're also really grateful to have Joel Bailey. He's the Executive Director of Heroes Homegate, a residential case management program led by the, I believe, national organization called Footprints. Joel, are you here on the call?
Yes, I'm here and I'm glad to be here. And I want to say thanks, to Stephen and his presentation. I look forward to collaborating with him. A lot of great information. I must collaborate with our organization, his organization, to be able to serve the veterans. I'm scrambling here. I'm here in the reentry program here in Ozarks, and we're trying to find a space to get this meeting done in internet. I was on my laptop, but it kept breaking up, so now I'm back to my phone here. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time and, troubleshooting a way to talk to us. And I think we really appreciate having you and all the work that you're doing. And I think for our call, we focus on digital opportunities, digital initiatives, and supporting the digital inclusion work that's going on here. But if you could tell us maybe just a brief overview about your organization and what you do generally across the board, and then share the challenges or ways that you're trying to help veterans in our community be connected or have digital opportunities, and ways that we might be able to support you as a coalition, or ways that we all might be able to partner with you in some way.
Sure. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to be brief as I can. So we have a $7.6 million campus that we are hoping to be in at the end of December. We'll be, of course, giving an invite to everyone that's a part of this conversation. We are a 24-hour operation. We have a contract with the VA, and that's our emergency housing contract. We serve 24 veterans, that's men and women veterans, 3 meals a day, case management. We also have a clinical director, and we also have a chef. This new facility will have a commercial kitchen, commercial cafeteria, weight room, yoga room, rec room with a pool table, ping pong table. The gaming room that we have also will entail of gaming. So we have about 4 chairs so that the veterans can be able to do their gaming. We will have, of course, a facility for laundry room, 3 washers, 3 dryers, classroom, so that the things that you do at your organization, you can be able to bring it to our place to be able to teach the veterans, whether it be the GED classes, and being able, going back to the previous presentation, collaborating with him so he could bring those resources to the site. This site also will have a movie theater, a library, which once again will enable the veterans to be able to have a space to where they could go to do studies. The women will have their own wing in the facility, and the reason that's for them to be able to feel safe and be safe. They have their own living room space, TV space. Upstairs, the men will have their own living quarters, and then we'll have a wellness center and also a TV room upstairs. What we do there at Footprints at the emergency housing is we're looking time frame of 90 days to 120 days to be able to get veterans into the independent living. Of course, that's a case-by-case basis based on what challenges they have, whether they have their IDs, birth certificate, and things of that nature, and making sure that they, first of all, have all their primary care, making sure that we address all the issues that have to do with mental health, making sure that they have those medications, make sure that they're stable before you put them into independent housing. excuse me. Uh, and so getting the veterans into permanent house, of course, is based on whether their income, whether they have felonies or don't have felonies, if they have paid evictions, have they paid off their eviction, collaborating with SSVF, which is Catholic Charities now. We did have three. We had Restore and had Salvation Army, but now we're just working with Catholic Charities. And so being able to get in application fees, any sometimes you can get help with paid off with past rears from past residents that they lived in. Um, I'm going to jump over to the state of Kansas. For you that don't know, we do have a resident now that's in Kansas City, Kansas. It's been open for over a year. There's a 5-bed facility. We just passed our inspection for it to be expanded to 14. We also serve men and women at that location. The cool part about the GPD program, which is a grant program, I call it a GAMP program, meaning that a veteran that's less than honorable will be able to serve them. Also, we'll be able to serve veterans that were in the reserve. As you know or don't know, that if you don't have a general or didn't serve in the military, you don't receive services at the VA. So we'll now be able to help homeless reservists now and be able to serve them at the location. Just super excited about the growth that we're having. We will be having a grand opening for that location at Kansas City, Kansas. That's at 1026 Ann Avenue. It's not far from downtown. One of the other benefits of being in the program, for a veteran being in Footprints Heroes Hope program, is that we're connected with vet court. So we'll be able to address a lot of the legal issues that the veterans are dealing with, and being able to possibly have some of those things erased from their record that won't affect their future. Financial literacy is another key part that we work with veterans too. We work with Chess Inc. and helping looking at the veterans' past history, so we can be able to look at. We are finding that a lot of veterans are getting housed without even looking at what baggage they have, baggage that they have, meaning that once they get into their place and they start getting mail or get a job, and then here they go, they get some mail that says you owe me $2,000, $3,000. And of course, their response is, where did this come from? And that's because they haven't had anyone to work with them with their financial baggage. You know, a lot of them have payday loans and a lot of these high dollar situations with agencies where they borrow money, and they probably have even forgotten that they even made these loans. Depends on their state of mind. So being able to get them stabilized across the board, I call it, of course, the holistic approach and adjusting the issues. Also, this new facility will give them opportunity to address some of the physical issues. We look at collaborating with trainers and bringing in people to do yoga classes to work on flexibility that helps strengthening the body up. These things here are key components in the state-of-the-art facility that we're doing. I'm going to stop here because I can go on and on. I want to give you an opportunity to ask me questions.
Wow. Thank you, Joel. That's really a lot of great, really incredible information. And thank you so much for sharing it. I think, at least for me, I didn't realize the sheer scope and scale of your work. Can you share, you mentioned the new facility in Kansas City, Missouri, I believe, that is going to open up. Where are you currently operating out of? Where will
So
the
we're
new
currently
location, where will the new location be?
Yeah, good question. So our current location is at 2017 Linwood, and we're in the old Emerson apartment building. We leased the first 2 floors in that facility, which has been been a big challenge for us, mixing veterans with civilians. And but it also has been a plus to the neighborhood for them to be able to see an organization to thrive and be able to address the neighborhood and bring positivity to that area, which has been like I say, a challenging area time. But it has gotten much better there. The new location is at 2011 East 35th Street, and that's on 35th Street, and that's between Euclid and Garfield. So if you go down 35th Street toward the VA, and you look to your right, or to your left, and you'll say, wow, oh, this is what Joel was talking about. So we look at being a cornerstone to the Ivanhoe neighborhood, and we have collaborated with the Ivanhoe neighborhood in this project. And it has been a win-win, not only for the veterans, for our organization, but also for the neighborhood there. I do want to speak about, we've already collaborated with you guys on the computers for the new building. We've already purchased the computers because of collaborating with your organization. Two of those computers will be in the library, in there for access for the veterans. And then also we will have computers that some of the staff will be using too in this new facility.
Great. And thank you for the shout out to the library. I appreciate it. And Wendy, you can jump in if you want to add anything more about that. But Joel, when will the facility open? And once it opens, will the Linwood location close or will it be open as well?
Good question. That Linwood location most definitely will shut down. We will be moving our whole operation to the new facility. And we expect to be in there, hopefully, construction is construction, but by the end of December of this year.
Okay, great.
So we're not far away. I've been pulling what hair I don't have out of my head to get us in there as soon as possible and get us out of the other building. Super excited about such a project, so for the city.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I want to
Yes, a lot of work.
open it up to anyone on the call who might have some questions for Joel and the great work he's doing.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I do have a shout out. Just kudos, Joel. I mean, my goodness, I think it's fabulous as someone who has spent many, many years working with the homeless veteran community. I think that all these things that you're able to afford for so many of them to be able to do is incredible. And it is like really tugging on my heartstrings right now. But in a former life, I was a healthcare navigator with SSVF under the VA umbrella. And so, as you know, there's lots of limitations there, but this is just fabulous. So good for you and congratulations and all the things.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Shannon.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Anyone else have questions for Joel or any of the services they provide?
Joel, it's
Well,
Ashton Forbes. I actually worked under
Ashton,
Joel,
how you doing?
and I came in whenever they were doing the blueprints for this, and so this is like so exciting to me to see this coming here to be getting ready to be open. But I cannot remember. I was just going to ask you, what's the referral process to your program? Does it come directly through the VA? Is that the only referrals that you're accepting into the new or into your program right now?
That's a good question, and this is a good question that we can be able to inform the community in learning how to serve our homeless veterans. Because sometimes individuals say, "Well, why are those veterans out there? What can we do to help them?" And the question that you just asked, Ashton, is the answer to that is a veteran can go to the 9th floor at the VA and let them know that they are homeless. They have an intake process at the 9th floor. And we are not the only agency that's in Kansas City that serve homeless veterans. There's also Benea Hall that also serve homeless veterans, and then Salvation Army Kansas City, Kansas has a location too that serves homeless veterans. But as for referrals, you can have a person to walk them through the process. You can have them call me and walk them through, because a lot of times I find that veterans call and they don't know actually how to do follow through. So I believe in holding the veteran's hand, and I feel that is why we are where we at now, because we hold people's hand, we hold the veteran's hand. They deserve to have their hand held as they go through the process of getting back into independent living. So going to the 9th floor, and the reason why they had to go to the 9th floor, believe it or not, you have people that'll go in that say that they're a veteran and they're not a veteran, so they have to go in, do that intake to make sure they say who they are, and then from there we look at they look at what their needs are, making sure that they're stable. When the last time they had primary care, making sure you check out make sure they have any SI that's going on with them. If they have SI, making sure that they have all their behavioral medication that's needed, because those are some of the major requirements of coming into our program, that you agree to take your medications as prescribed. Also, and then understanding that we have zero tolerance for drinking and drugging in the program. Now, that doesn't mean that if you take a drink or take a drug that you immediately or discharged from the program. It means that we sit down with the veteran and look at and talk about what happened. Why did you take a drink or drug, knowing that coming into this program, you sign an agreement that you're not to drink and drug. And then the next step is to see what the buy-in they have in for to make sure that they don't pick up again. So we want to support them through their challenges, not penalize them because they made a bad choice at that time. And this is the part of holding their hand and teaching them and getting them the necessary help that is needed for them while they're in the program.
Thanks for the question, Ashton. Well, Joel, thank you so much for getting on this call and for all the incredible work that you're doing. And, you know, this coalition is here to help support you and help with all the work of the veterans. Somebody asked this when Stephen was on the call. Is it just support for veterans, or do you do any wraparound services for family members, spouses, or children?
Yeah, so our program is mainly directly for the veterans, but when it comes to the family and kids, this is when we engage with SSVF,
Okay.
and we engage with them. So when the veterans, when they sign up for SSVF, we have several veterans that have significant others. They come in, they get the help. Their significant others find another place or location while they're getting the help, and we try to fast track them into getting an independent living so they can both be together again. But through SSVF, they pick up where the help is needed with the significant other or the kids that are involved in this at this time of need.
Okay. Well, thank you again for all of your work. And do you mind putting your contact information in the chat in case anybody who's on the call wants to reach out to you directly? And then again, we'll follow up in a newsletter after this call with more information about everything you're doing and how to reach you directly. But thank you again for being here. Thanks so much for the work that you do, and look forward to working more closely with you on all this incredible work, especially at your new location. That's so great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you and your organization once again for doing. It's all about collaboration and relationships that we are able to serve the veterans to the level that we are serving them. And your organization has played a major part in helping us being able to reach those goals.
Well, thank you. Thanks to Wendy Pearson, who's on the call from the library as well, and her team.
Oh, yeah. Look forward to talking to you more, Wendy, about the library.
Absolutely. I'll be in touch, definitely. We have a person on our team who's dedicated exclusively to taking the library's digital inclusion services kind of out on the road, and we'd love to collaborate and see if we can bring you some classes or drop-in sessions. And I did want to mention that I used to be your neighbor across the street years ago, and it's just, I know that the expansion on 35th Street has been a goal of yours for years, and I still live in the area, and it's just been a pleasure driving by to see it grow and actually come to fruition. So congratulations.
Absolutely.
It looks great.
Thank you again. Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Joel.
right,
Now we're
thank
going to
you.
move on to our new member spotlight, and you heard from her briefly at the beginning of the call, Shannon DiMaggio. She's the sponsorship and events manager for IC Stars. So Shannon, welcome, and we'd love to hear about your organization and tell us briefly about it, and then what you are doing to help support digital opportunities for the community or for your clients here in town, and ways that we might be able to help support you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I feel sort of sabotaged, Carrie, because who can follow these veterans? I mean, like, this work is just such a heart tugger, and it's so needed, so important. And here we are, you know, on the eve of Veterans Day. And I don't know, I feel like I should have gone first, not last, but I'm just going to say. But I do appreciate so much the opportunity. I'm going to try to present if I can. I'm going to hope not to have technical difficulties. We'll see. Can you guys see this?
Yep, looks good.
Okay. Okay, well, so hello. And I'm so excited to be here in this meeting and to echo your previous guest, I really want to make a better effort at being able to attend these meetings. It's not often that you see coalitions that are really, really, truly collaborative and engaging and sharing all the information like Tom was offering. I think that's so fabulous because that's really what it's all about, is making sure that we're just sharing as much with each other as we can. And I wanted to, before I get started, make sure that I thank some of you, because we have had partnerships with the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and with KC Digital Drive and the library. And we're just very grateful and very thankful for all of that. So thank you. I'd like to be sure to afford opportunities to every single person that's on this call so that we can collaborate and partner in whatever way makes great sense. So we are IC Stars Kansas City. IC Stars was founded 27 years ago now in Chicago by a young female Black educator who recognized that there was a need for a path beyond high school for many of her students who were just stagnating. Once they graduated, they were not getting into career paths that were providing opportunity, to launch them out of situations that weren't exactly ideal, whether that be some domestic barrier or financial barrier or health barriers or whatever those challenges may have been. Sandy Castrol, who was our founder, wanted to ensure that there were opportunities beyond high school and beyond a low income wage. So she saw in 1995 the best way to do that was through technology. So IC Stars was then born, and we are a workforce development program that is really driven in tech training, but there is a big piece of business leadership, health and wellness that goes along with the tech training, so that once they graduate, they're really feeling fulfilled and ready. That there are financial literacy courses that we're offering in partnership with Commerce Bank or Country Club Bank or Cap One, or the Federal Reserve most recently. So we're very glad to have those partnerships. But it is a 14-week intensive project-based learning internship. So that means that we will partner with a cycle sponsor. We'll have 3 cycles every year. Each cycle will have up to 20 interns in it. We will have a project sponsor, a workshop sponsor, and a mentor sponsor for each cycle. The project sponsorship allows that business, recently being City of Kansas City, Missouri, Children's Mercy, Hush Blackwell, Burns and Mac. These are the companies that we've partnered with in the past. They will present a real pain point that they're experiencing in their businesses that is tech, and ask our interns to solve for it. So for the next 14 weeks, then they will break off into teams of 4 and devise a solution. They'll present that solution to that business, to that board of directors, and they'll judge it, and they'll make a determination as to who the winner of that project is. And very often then they hire that team of people to come and work for them full time. So it is just a very incredible evolution of opportunity that happens in just a very short 14 weeks. It feels like forever to our interns, because they're with us for very long days from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. every day. So they are already showing a lot of dedication to this new path that they've elected to walk down, just in the amount of time that they're sacrificing to do it. So it's a really cool like I said, evolution of people, and also just of relationships that happen across the spectrum, not just with the interns, but how it impacts the project sponsor and all the people that are involved on that team is really dynamic too. So following their graduating from our program, there is a 24-month residency program that we think is even more important because it affords continued certifications. It affords continued networking opportunities. A lot of learning happens in that residency, but also our wraparound services continue for those 24 months as well. So we do have an on-staff licensed therapist, but we also have a case manager, a talent placement manager who works with the employers in securing opportunities and jobs, our program manager, our tech trainers, me, and our executive director. So I thought we had a pretty tiny team until I heard, I've forgotten the young man's name with Upward Bound. Oh, Stephen. When I heard Stephen talking about how many people they had on their team, I was like, oh, well, we've got almost twice as many. So these are some of the previous projects that we've worked on. We have 4 signature events each year, and then we have a lot of networking opportunities that are really important for our interns to be able to be a part of, so that they can get themselves out there, so that they can start feeling comfortable about what it feels like to have these conversations with people that maybe they've never met before, like CEOs and CEOs and CISOs and all the C's and all the O's. And I know I didn't. Even when I came into this role, I was, I shared with our executive director, I said, Shamika, I don't know any, like, what do you want me to do? I have no Rolodex to support what you're asking me to do. And she's like, you're going to have to get out there and start meeting some people. So, we're doing that together. So some of these events are in collaboration with some of our partners, like Casey Digital Drive. We hosted a device drive to collect and repurpose laptops, phones, monitors, all the things. So that is one way that we are putting our money where our mouth is in terms of digital inclusion, and making sure that we're doing our part in that footprint. And we did that ahead of an event that is called Hack the Dream, that's coming up this February. We host it every Black History Month. It will be February 26th. It's a social impact hackathon. The point of it being all things equity. Let's talk about digital equity in a big way, but not let's just talk about it. Let's leave here having taken on an ask and really seeing that ask through. So we're really proud to be hosting Hack the Dream again. We invite KCPS and now some other school districts this upcoming year to be a part of it. So our interns will be working with juniors and seniors from other school districts, and also then these large industry leaders and people from Kauffman, like Donnell Hammond, who is just incredibly amazing in his young age and doing so much at Kauffman Foundation as a CISO there. And so there's a lot of collaboration that happens in these events, but again, it's also a networking opportunity for them. And it's an opportunity for us to get some visibility of who it is we are and what we're doing out into the city. We have an event which is more of a thought leadership event in the fall called Eye Opener. And then we have some other fun things throughout the spring and summer too. We do have placement fairs for our interns. There are opportunities, to really showcase who it is they are, what they've learned, if they have any demos to share. That was Star Search last year. This year, it's the Tech Expo. And you guys are invited to any and all of these things, and you're going to be getting a very robust email from me post this meeting, so wait for it. And you can always unsubscribe from me, but I want to make sure that you have all the information that you need once we part ways this morning. So these are some of the projects that we've done. These are a few of our sponsors that we've been fortunate enough to make friends with in this last 2.5 years, which I feel like, you guys, I feel like time either goes in a blink or it feels like an eternity. I can't really decide which it is, but this last 2.5 years for me has just been incredibly packed full of growth. So these are some of our partners. Anybody that you might see on this slide that might be people that you would like an introduction to, I'm happy to share that. I would love to share that. I love making introductions. It gets me out of the office. I'm able to grab an extra cup of coffee. I'm always about that. Shamika Hogan is our executive director. I'm just going to roll through the rest of these so that we can keep time. Lachey Wagner is our case manager. Gustavo Adolfo Abar, our program manager. Danshay Somborn, who is our tech training manager. I love and adore Danshay. She was actually an intern. And this young lady is just a dynamo. She has just taken over, and she's doing an exceptional job. Brendan Butler is our recruitment manager. Goldie Owu was our talent placement manager, but she has now left us and is taking on her own organization, Cyber Creations, where she's doing great things for a different demographic, but very similar to what we're doing at IC Stars. And Braxton is our tech fellow, me. And then this is just a short little synopsis of some of the events that we had this past year. And then I'll open it up for questions. So I know that was a lot in a short amount of time, but I want to make sure that you guys know that it's not all of it. And I'm happy to follow up with anything that you guys are interested in knowing more about.
Great. And Shannon, thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and a lot of really great information from you as well. So thank you for that. And if you could just put your contact information in the chat so people can reach out to you. And if we can share this information in our newsletter that will go out next week, that would be great. Does anybody have questions for Shannon on her work or the organization's work that she's doing in our community?
Something that I think I forgot to mention is that we do give every intern their own laptop. They will leave with that laptop, whether they make it through our program or not. We also afford application support clinics, so open houses where folks who might not have access to a computer but really want to find a way into the program, we'll open our studio and provide laptops there for them to be able to use. And sometimes we'll do that out in the community too, at different library locations across the city. And we also offer a stipend while they're in the program too.
Okay, wonderful. So, that's great. Yeah, those sounded like some long hours for the interns. So I'm glad to hear that as well.
Yeah.
Well, that is so wonderful. So much to share, and just thank you for coming. Thank you for being a new member to the coalition and for all the work that you do. And I know that we all look forward to finding ways to partner with you as we go along. And again, reminder to everybody, we have our celebration event next month on December 11th. So we'll be able to see each other in person and really get more information and details. So Shannon, thank you so much for your hard work.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay, we have a few minutes left, so I did want to take a moment to ask Tom, and I don't know if Leslie Scott is still on the call, but start with Tom Esselman from Depot KC. Both of you, and I did as well, attended the Shelby Anchor Nets conference that happened earlier in October, and that stands for Schools, Health, Libraries, and Broadband Coalition. It's a Washington, D.C. public policy nonprofit that works to support legislation for anchor institutions in communities across the country, schools, libraries, and health communities, but also other anchor institutions as well, and make sure that we continue to get the supports that we need to be able to provide the services in our communities, like Wi-Fi connections and devices and all kinds of other legislation and decisions that are being made in Washington, D.C. So it's an incredible organization. I encourage everybody to check out their website, but we've had some longtime members of the coalition who belong to the Shelby Coalition. And so it was a real treat to be able to go to DC and participate in the conference. So Tom, did you want to share some thoughts? And then Leslie, I didn't plan this with either of you, so I'm asking for your goodwill and sharing your thoughts on the conference and maybe what some takeaways were for the people on this call.
No, that's great. Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, it was a really strong event for Kansas City representation because on the first day there was a panel session that featured a number of national individuals. One of the national vice presidents from Google Fiber, who's from a corporate perspective always been a great supporter here locally of our digital efforts. Also Angela Seifer, who's the executive director of the National Digital Inclusion Alliance. And Carrie Coogan, our host today, is also, I don't know if she mentioned, she's a board member of Shelby. So it was great being on a panel with her. And then just after that first panel session, then Aaron Deacon and Leslie Scott from KC Digital Drive we're also on a breakout panel session. So Kansas City was well represented on the national level. So that's the first highlight I wanted to share. But I think more importantly, the things that I think this group needs to be aware of, and the fact that Kansas City has great representation at a national level, is when it comes to policy issues that, a lot of times local nonprofits, whether you're small or large, you may not realize the impact you can have over things that are happening at a legislative level. There's 3 particular areas of legislation that the Shelby Conference covered that I just wanted to make sure you're aware of what they are and how your work across your nonprofit service providing agency matters. The first one is called USF reform. That's the Universal Service Fund. Every time you make a phone call and get a phone bill, there's a small incremental charge that you get that goes toward this USF. And that USF is what allows schools and libraries to actually pay for internet and network equipment and things that provide Wi-Fi and broadband internet access to school children and library patrons. That is going through a reform effort right now to make sure that that funding is reliable and sustainable well into the future. There's another policy issue affecting E-rate. That's some of the disbursements that come from the Universal Fund that allows groups like the schools and libraries in particular to be able to fund things like hotspots and for rural healthcare cooperatives and anyone who lives in a rural area to be able to afford broadband. And then the third thing that's happening right now at the policy level involves a certain kind of broadband spectrum called CBRS. It's a citizen broadband radio spectrum, and it allows right now in Kansas City places like Linwood Gardens, an affordable housing apartment community, and a total of 10 properties that are owned by the housing authority, 5 on the Missouri side and 5 on the Kansas side, all are getting their internet for their residents through the CBRS spectrum, which is being threatened by the new federal administration. So you may not realize it, but any of you who do work in the digital space, try to share stories, try to share information with us here at the coalition, because it will help us share back with groups like Shelby to help influence policies that can keep the support we need for those kinds of programs. And then before I hand over to Leslie, I just want to give one other shout out to this being Veterans Month. And for those of you who don't remember, this time last year, we were preparing for the biggest federal grant program ever in support of broadband, internet, and digital services support. And veterans were called out as a so-called covered population. And any agency that was providing veteran services was in the running to receive funding support. And that program got canceled this spring by the new administration. So the support for any agency providing any services to veterans is more critical now than ever. So in addition to those guests who joined us today, if any of you work with or know of or are aware of other groups that help veterans, please reach out to them. We all want to make sure we can do everything we can to help them out because they need it now more than ever.
Thank you, Tom. Great update. And really, I love the plea about veterans and especially thinking about where we were last year, all filled with such hope and promise for so many incredible programs and services we were all going to be able to provide. But I'll just say that that's why it's so great that we have this strong coalition to work together because, you know, that's not going to stop us from doing the work. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep working together. And thanks for the comment about sharing your stories because that is the key, is hearing about those incremental things that happen each day in all of the places where you work. Those stories matter and they matter to legislators. So thank you for that. Leslie Scott was also there with KC Digital Drive. Leslie, do you want to share some thoughts too?
Sure. Thanks, Carrie. So, NDIA was also a strong voice in that conference, talking about their lawsuit that they have to try and get the Digital Equity Act back in place, and also the non-deployment funds for BEAD, which are which would be the funding that is not allocated toward the actual infrastructure. So there's a lot of money after the benefit of the bargain pivot that that the NTIA did. It is up in the air as to whether or not those non-deployment funds are going to be available, and actually saw that there's a draft bill, and I haven't read anything about it, but just saw it come across my email to claw back those non-deployment funds. So all that being said, we at KC Digital Drive are open to talking with anyone who wants to do some educational conversations with their electeds in Washington. Of course, they've got a lot going on with the shutdown at the moment, but just to try and get our ducks in a row on that, I think, we would be happy to try and facilitate that work. It's not a space we operate in directly per se, but we have a lot of, just knowledge in that space that we could share and help you think through what your own educational efforts might be. I think that our particular session was about, it was so easy to get so down about, those funds evaporating into thin air. And I think, my parting comment on our panel, which was the whole session, was about, operating outside of the scarcity mindset for digital opportunity programming. And, it was when we're doing the planning sessions, somebody from one of the really small libraries just said that she just refuses to try and get volunteers and other kinds of free resources to do what they need to do, because if she does that, then that those will be pointed to as like, well, you can do all these things without money, so why should we give you money? And I think that that's really an important thing to remember. Obviously, volunteers are awesome, and we appreciate them so much as a resource among all our organizations. But I think to think of them as a bonus rather than a replacement for our mission critical programming. And kind of my parting comment on the panel was, that we don't need to wait until we get a big check. Let's just do something. And so Saturday, I'll use this opportunity. Tomorrow, we're having the Get Help KC event where we have organizations coming to provide one-on-one navigation support, including Andrew Lynn from the library, Literacy KC, Phoenix Family, El Centro, tons of organizations, Goodwill will be there. So a lot of people have trouble, navigating online tasks. And so we'll be doing that tomorrow here at 1801 Linwood in the Great Hall. But just in general, I think the conference was about both holding people accountable for what has already been promised, as well as trying to think about how we pivot in the meantime. So again, it was a great conference, and it was great to have so many people from Kansas City there and represent.
Thank you, Leslie, and thanks for the mention about the event tomorrow. I did want to open it up quickly to anybody else who has an upcoming community event or an event that your organization is hosting in the next week or two, or the rest of this month. Anybody want to share something that's coming up?
Carrie, I would like to share an event that we have coming up, if I could, please.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Again, good morning, everybody. My name is Tanya Williams. I go by Sherelle. I work out of the Digital Equity Office of the City of Kansas City, and I work closely with my manager, which is Jerry Buckman. We have, and some of you may have received my email, but I'm certainly happy to send it to you. This event is called the Digital Divide Simulation. That's coming up November 20th. And if you give me just a moment, I'm going to see if I can share my screen. I won't take too long, Carrie. Let's see. Okay, this is the Eventbrite that's going to go out. And if any of you all are interested, please contact me. I did put my email address in the chat. And if you reach out to me, I can send this out to you and you can register for this event. But this is where, can you all see that?
Yeah, we can see it. And if you want to send it to us too, we can make sure it goes out in the newsletter.
Okay, yeah, Carrie, I can certainly do that.
Yeah, we can see it though.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. This is where we all come together to understand a lot of the challenges our communities, individuals in our communities come together with limited access to technology. And we put ourselves in their shoes, walk their path, and find out what it's like when you don't have connectivity and at your fingertips. This event is going to be at the Kansas City Community Convention Center. I have set up free parking because I know a lot of people scream when you have to come downtown with all the construction that we have going on. But I have set up free parking, and it's all in this information at 1201 Broadway. So if you're going north on Broadway, it's that parking lot that's always been open forever to your left. And obviously, if you're coming south on Broadway, it'll be on your right-hand side. Free parking. I'm just asking that individuals, when you take that ticket, write DDS on your ticket and the date, 11/20, and just post it in your dashboard so that their staff can see that. And then you'll walk across the street. The conference room is right there. I've set up a wonderful continental breakfast. And with all this being said, we partnered with KC Digital Drive. So Leslie Scott and Miss Leah Henderson partnered. They are going to facilitate the event. And Leslie, if you want to speak on this, I certainly will welcome it. But I'll be happy to send this out to you. Again, my email address is in the chat.
Okay, thank you so much. Leslie, your hand is up. I'm assuming you have something to add.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We when we do these simulations, we always say, let's not preach to the choir. And I think we've got the choir here, but the amazing thing about this group is that you can help us tap into those folks who may be, interested, may need a little bit more help understanding the issue, policymakers, funders, local government, government at all levels, really, other kinds of service providers. So those are the folks who I think could really benefit from this kind of event. And so if you could help Sherelle tap into those audiences, I think that's how we're really going to get some more support for the digital equity work that Sherelle and Jerry are doing at the city. There's not an unlimited pot of money for KCMO services. So any attention we can help them bring to this issue could be really beneficial when it comes to budgeting time. And then that just ends up benefiting our organizations in the long run. So that's how I think you all can support this event.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, I think Leslie, if you could, or not Leslie, sorry, Wendy, put the agenda slide back up so we can round out. Did anybody else have any quick community announcements as well?
Carrie, sorry for cutting in. I wanted
No.
to see if Denise Hart is still on this call. Miss D from the Homes Garden Neighborhood Association. Earlier, I mentioned Google Fiber and what a great supporter that they've been. And over the last month, or since the last time we were together, I believe that the Homes Garden Neighborhood Association got Google Fiber installed in their building, and it also includes extenders that expand the Wi-Fi signal outside as well, because they help kids do homework and do things, and in service to the residents of the Homes Garden Neighborhood Association down off of Bannister Road. Denise, if you're still on the call, I'm just curious to know if you could just chime in and let us know how things are going and the degree to which we all owe thanks to groups like Google Fiber here locally, as well as the Health Forward Foundation, T-Mobile Foundation, other funding support. But in particular, what's the impact of getting high-speed internet down at the Homes Garden Neighborhood Association?
Well, hello, everyone. And it's been fantastic. So what I do is, like, if I'm not there, I have little signs up. If I'm not there, they can still use it because I have a bench in front of the building up underneath the tree, because when it was hot outside, it was great to be up underneath the tree and right next to the garden. So I've got a bench in front of the building and behind the building. And sometimes when I'm coming home, I can see them sitting on a bench and I wave at them, hey! And they're all on their phones and their laptops and they're doing stuff. And I'm like, it just tickles me pink to finally be able to do something like that, because these kids nowadays, they want to get out the house, and parents say, oh, get out the house, but they still want to be on electronics. They don't know how to play like we used to play back in the day. We used to play with each other, balls, dodge balls, mud pies. We did all kinds of stuff back in the day. But to see these kids coming from out the house to not be on digital, to come to the resource lab and be on digital, this is kind of like, okay, well, do what you got to do your homework, do your games, make money, whatever you got to do. It's available for you, because they're needing that. And this is this generation. I can't knock that. This is their generation to be on technology. And I have to embrace that, because I wasn't reared that way, but these kids are. And I'm glad that it's available for them, because they can do some of the most wondrous things. It just amazed me. And when I get stuck, I got to ask a child, not a professional. I got to ask, hey, baby, come here. What's wrong with this right here? How do I put this up there? Oh, there's no problem, Miss D. We got to do this. I'm like, but you're 5 years old. You're 5 years old showing me. And it just tickles me pink. And I love it. I love it. So this really helps anyone who just needs it, just temporarily. They just be sitting out there, sitting on a bench. If I would have known in advance, I could have like a little refrigerator, or cooler, they could have something to drink and some chips, I just put a little something for him to snack on, because I do. I'm on the computer, I'm snacking on something, drinking, whatever, Not drinking water, y'all, not nothing else, okay? Just you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's all I drink is my little water here, okay? But
Wow.
to see the kids really enjoying that's what I love. And it helped a lot, because I had a hot spot that I got for PC for People. So when the veteran mentioned about the PC for People, I went there myself. So I know what he's talking about. So the hotspot that I have, I ain't paying for it no more because I don't need it because we got that. So the hotspot, it was just really, really good, but it didn't go out as far. And plus I got to keep it plugged up because I don't know who's going to be doing what. So I said, until I get that feature, this is what we're going to work with. But now, honey, they just taking that and running with it. Their little
Wow,
friends
thank
come
you.
over to visit. They're all over there in front of the place, sitting on the concrete, on the ground or whatever, and just on their computer. And I'm like, you know what? This was needed.
Yeah.
This was most definitely needed, just to get out their house and get with their little friends, walk through the garden. They always walking through my garden. They love that garden. They just love walking through, but they don't want to help you with it. But they'll be, I'm just kidding. They help me sometimes.
That's so great.
They help me sometimes, but I be putting them to work. I'm sorry, y'all. I be putting them to work. Come on, come on. There she is. They be hiding from me and stuff. They wait till I'm done. Then they get on the computer. I say, okay. I don't care. Just use it. That's why it's here, baby. So I appreciate that. And thanks for everything, all your organizations. Thanks for everything you have done for us. I deeply appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And thank you, Tom, for bringing Denise into the conversation. Okay, well, we're almost at the end of time. So just one last reminder, Thursday, December 11th, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. We're going to be in person for our holiday celebration, food, drinks, fun, and sharing on the 5th floor of the Central Library downtown. So thank you all so much for your time, for your effort, and for your energy and all you bring to our community, and look forward to seeing all of you on in December in person. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you,
Yeah, thank you,
everybody.
Wendy.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, and
Thank you,
Shannon.
everyone.
Thank you.